The night air pressed heavy, yet the silence inside the house was louder than any storm. Emma moved through the bedroom with careful steps, her chest tightening as though her body already knew what her heart feared. Her eyes locked onto Michael's phone, left carelessly on the nightstand, glowing faintly as if it wanted to be found. She hesitated, whispered, "Please, let me be wrong," but her trembling fingers betrayed her. The screen lit her face as she scrolled. Words of desire, hidden exchanges, love meant for someone else. Emma's breath quivered, her lips dry, her world unraveling in seconds. She looked to Michael, peacefully asleep, and felt her heart shatter. She whispered to herself, "This is the man I gave everything to." That night, Emma's soul ignited with pain, betrayal, and the seed of revenge. Emma sat at the kitchen table, dawn light breaking through the blinds. Her hands cupped her face as the weight of betrayal pressed down like an anchor. She whispered, "Why, Michael?" The echoes of laughter from their past flooded her memory. Birthdays, anniversaries, stolen moments that now felt poisoned. She replayed the texts in her head, each word cutting deeper than the last. Her phone buzzed again with another notification, proof of the ongoing deceit. She slammed her fist onto the table, the sound sharp against the stillness. Her heart begged her to cry, but her mind whispered vengeance. The betrayal was no longer just heartbreak, it was fuel. Later that morning, Emma dressed carefully, her hands trembling as she buttoned her blouse. She remembered the vows Michael had spoken, words of loyalty now shattered. She muttered, "All lies." Her reflection in the mirror stared back, once soft and hopeful, now edged with fury. She whispered, "You will regret this." A fire had lit inside her, a quiet storm gathering strength. Every gesture was deliberate, every thought sharpened to a single point, revenge. She felt both broken and powerful, carrying the burden of betrayal but holding the weapon of truth. Emma left the house quietly, the streets damp from an early morning rain. Each step echoed with resolve. She thought of Michael's deceit and how easily he had smiled at her while hiding it all. She whispered, "You thought I'd never find out." Her eyes burned with determination as she envisioned the path ahead, not one of forgiveness but of calculated vengeance. Her pulse steadied, her mind focused. The betrayal had torn her apart, but now it stitched her together in a new form, stronger, colder, and ready to strike where it would hurt the most. At her friend Olivia's apartment, Emma finally let her voice break. Olivia listened quietly as Emma poured out the discovery, her voice shaking between rage and grief. Emma said, "He lied to me, Olivia. He made a fool of me." Olivia touched her arm gently and replied, "You don't deserve this, Emma. You deserve justice." Emma's breath steadied, her tears drying into resolve. She whispered, "Then justice is what I'll take." Olivia's eyes widened, sensing a dangerous determination in Emma's tone. The betrayal was no longer a secret wound, it was a weapon. Emma sat alone in her car, parked outside the office where Michael worked. The morning traffic buzzed around her, but she heard nothing except the pounding of her heart. She clutched the steering wheel until her knuckles whitened, whispering, "You think I'm blind, Michael?" She remembered the phone screen lighting up with that name, Sophie, every word between them, a betrayal sharpened into a blade. Her lips curled into a cold half-smile. "I know who she is now," she whispered. Her reflection in the rearview mirror looked foreign, eyes darker, lips tighter, a stranger with fire instead of innocence. Emma took a deep breath, steadying her resolve. This wasn't a woman broken anymore. This was a woman preparing for war. Inside the office lobby, Emma's heels clicked against the marble floor, each step an echo of anger. She scanned the room until she saw Sophie, smiling, head tilted toward Michael as they laughed together. Emma's chest tightened with rage, but she forced herself to remain calm. She whispered under her breath, "Laugh while you can." Michael glanced her way, surprise flickering in his eyes, but Emma smiled faintly, as though nothing was wrong. She thought, "He doesn't know I've already read every word, every secret." She held his gaze for a long second, silent, her smile sharpening into a warning he couldn't yet understand. That evening, Emma sat across from Olivia in a dimly lit cafe, the low hum of chatter surrounding them. Emma said, "She's younger, prettier. That's who he threw me away for." Olivia leaned forward, her voice soft but firm. "Emma, don't let them break you. Use this." Emma's eyes glimmered with unshed tears, but her tone was icy. "I'm not broken. I'm awake." Olivia studied her friend, sensing the dangerous clarity in her voice. Emma clenched her coffee cup, heat burning into her palms. She whispered, "He'll regret ever thinking I was weak." The cafe's warmth couldn't melt the frost settling in her words. Late at night, Emma returned home, the house dark and silent. Michael was already asleep, his face peaceful, as though guilt had never touched him. Emma stood by the doorway watching him, her heart boiling. She whispered to herself, "You think you're clever. You think I won't strike back." She slid under the covers beside him, her body stiff and cold. Her eyes stared into the darkness, listening to the rhythm of his breathing. The man who once vowed to protect her had become the reason for her destruction. She whispered silently, in the dark, "You've no idea the storm you've created." The next morning, Emma's transformation began. She stood before the mirror, slipping into a sleek black dress, her movements slow and deliberate. Her reflection showed not a wounded wife but a strategist, a woman stepping into a new role. She whispered, "Let's see how you like living with lies, Michael." She thought of Sophie's smile and Michael's laughter, and her lips tightened into a thin line. Her heart still ached, but beneath the ache was steel. Betrayal had carved away her innocence, leaving something sharper, something unbreakable. This wasn't the beginning of grief. It was the birth of vengeance. Emma waited in the dim light of Michael's study, the air heavy with the scent of his cologne. When he entered, she didn't smile. Michael said, "What are you doing here?" His voice carried surprise, even annoyance. Emma's eyes burned into him as she replied softly, "I'm learning the truth." He froze for a moment, then forced a laugh, but she didn't move. She leaned forward, her words sharp. "I know about Sophie. I know everything. You didn't even bother to hide it." Michael's face hardened. He muttered, "You're overreacting." Emma whispered, her voice shaking with fury. "Overreacting? You tore our life apart, and you dare to call it that." The next morning, Emma met Olivia again, her voice trembling with suppressed rage. Emma said, "He lied to me with every word. Every night he came home smelling of betrayal." Olivia reached for her hand, whispering, "You don't have to fight this battle alone." Emma pulled her hand back, eyes dark. "No, Olivia, I do. He thought I was blind, weak, someone to pity. But I see now. Sophie isn't the problem, he is, and I'll make him regret every moment he thought I couldn't fight back." Olivia swallowed hard, realizing the woman before her wasn't the friend she once knew, but someone sharper, dangerous. That afternoon, Emma followed Sophie, watching her from across the street. Sophie laughed on her phone, oblivious. Emma whispered to herself, "You stole what was mine, and you think you'll get away with it." A bitter smile curved her lips. She imagined walking up to Sophie, shattering her smile with the truth. But instead, Emma stayed in the shadows, her gaze fixed like a hunter waiting for her prey. Her heartbeat quickened as Sophie disappeared into a boutique, leaving Emma in the silence of her rage. The city roared around her, but she felt only the burning clarity of her plan forming. That night, Michael returned home late. Emma sat at the dinner table, a glass of wine untouched before her. She said coldly, "Was she worth it?" Michael's steps faltered, his voice defensive. "You don't understand." Emma leaned forward, voice low. "No, Michael, you don't understand. You've destroyed something that cannot be rebuilt." He slammed his hand on the table, shouting, "I deserve happiness too." Emma flinched but didn't back down. Her voice shook with anger as she whispered, "Happiness built on lies will bury you. And I'll be the one to watch." His silence afterward was louder than his outburst. Later that night, Emma stood outside in the cold, staring at the sky. The stars glittered, but her heart was steel. She whispered, "You betrayed me, Michael, but you forgot who I am. I don't break, I fight." Her breath clouded in the night air as she gripped her coat tighter. Memories of their vows, their laughter, their promises flooded back, but instead of pain she felt fire. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was war. And Sophie, Michael, everyone who had smiled in her face while stabbing her back would feel the cost of her silence. The night carried her vow like smoke. Emma sat in front of the mirror, brushing her hair slowly, her reflection staring back with unfamiliar coldness. Olivia entered quietly, her voice soft. "You haven't slept." Emma smirked bitterly. "Sleep is for the peaceful. I've made peace with nothing." Olivia hesitated before whispering, "You still love him, don't you?" Emma's hand froze mid-brush, her eyes narrowing. "Love? No. Love died the first time he lied to me. What's left isn't love, Olivia. It's poison, and he drank from it willingly." Olivia shook her head. "If you let this consume you, Emma, there will be nothing left of who you were." Emma leaned closer to her reflection and whispered, "That's the point. The Emma he betrayed doesn't exist anymore." Michael walked into his office the next day, startled to find Emma seated at his desk. "What the hell are you doing here?" he barked. Emma looked up, a cold smile tugging at her lips. "I was just admiring how easy it is to sit in your chair and pretend to control everything." Michael growled, "You're not welcome here." Emma leaned back, her voice sharp. "Neither was Sophie in our marriage, but you welcomed her with open arms." He clenched his jaw, trying to contain his rage. "You don't understand," she interrupted, slamming a folder on his desk. "I understand perfectly. You gambled with my life, with my dignity. And now, Michael, I will decide the stakes, not you." That evening, Emma tracked Sophie to a wine bar. She approached her slowly, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Sophie, darling, what a surprise." Sophie's smile faltered, the glass in her hand trembling slightly. "Emma, I didn't expect to see you here." Emma leaned closer, her tone soft but venomous. "You never expect the wife to show up, do you?" Sophie whispered. "Please, you don't understand." Emma cut her off, her eyes burning. "Understand? That you slipped into my life wearing the smiles I should have had, kissing the lips that swore loyalty to me? I understand more than you think." Sophie lowered her eyes, whispering, "I didn't mean for it to happen." Emma laughed bitterly. "Lies always start with, 'I didn't mean it.' But I'm not here for excuses. I'm here to let you know. Your time with him is borrowed, and the debt is mine to collect." Later that night, Michael confronted Emma at home, his voice shaking with fury. "How dare you humiliate Sophie like that?" Emma's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Oh, so now you defend her like she's your wife?" Michael shouted. "She didn't deserve that." Emma's voice rose, trembling with rage. "And what did I deserve, Michael? To be lied to? To be treated like nothing? Tell me, when you touched her, did you even remember me?" He fell silent, his fists trembling at his sides. Emma whispered, her voice breaking yet burning with venom. "Every lie you told carved me open. But don't worry. I'll return the favor. You won't see where or when, but you'll feel it. And when you do, remember, I warned you." That night, Emma stood outside in the rain, her clothes clinging to her skin, her face turned upward. She whispered to herself, "Every betrayal needs an ending. This won't just be about revenge. It will be about rewriting the story. He thought I was weak, but weakness doesn't shatter. It sharpens." Lightning split the sky, illuminating her determined face. She clenched her fists and continued, "Michael and Sophie both believe they've won. But what they don't see is the storm coming for them, and I am the storm." The rain ran down her cheeks like tears, but her eyes held no sorrow, only a fire that could not be extinguished. Emma sat with Olivia at a dim cafe, the air thick with tension. Olivia whispered, "You've crossed a line, Emma. You can't keep this up." Emma stirred her coffee slowly, her voice low but sharp. I haven't crossed a line, I've drawn one, and Michael already stepped over it. Olivia leaned forward, desperate. I'm scared for you. Revenge doesn't heal, it eats you alive. Emma's lips curved into a cold smile. Then let it eat me, Olivia, because right now, that hunger is all I have left. Olivia pleaded softly, what if he destroys you before you destroy him? Emma raised her eyes, steady and unflinching. Then at least I won't die silent. He will know exactly who carved his downfall. Michael found Emma waiting in his office again, stacks of papers spread out before her. He hissed, "You're insane. What are you doing?" Emma held up a document, smirking. "Your finances are full of cracks, Michael. It's funny how betrayal leaves trails, not just in hearts, but in numbers too." Michael's voice thundered, "You can't touch this, it's mine." Emma's tone dropped, filled with venom. "No, Michael. Everything you built, every lie you told, every smile you gave her, it was all on my back. And now, I'll tear it all down until you're left with nothing but ashes." Michael slammed his hand on the desk, shouting, "You don't scare me." Emma leaned forward, her voice a whisper sharp as a blade. "Then you're not listening closely enough." Sophie sat nervously in her apartment when Emma suddenly appeared at her door. Sophie stammered, "Why are you here?" Emma stepped inside without asking, her voice low and dangerous. "Because you need to hear this, face to face. Michael will use you, Sophie. Just like he used me." Sophie's hands trembled as she tried to protest. "He loves me." Emma laughed, sharp and cruel. "Love. That's the word he hides behind when he wants something. The moment you're inconvenient, he'll discard you like trash. Don't fool yourself, you're not the exception. You're the next casualty." Sophie whispered, "You're wrong." Emma leaned closer, her words cutting deep. "Am I? Or are you just too scared to admit you already see the cracks?" Later that night, Emma returned home to find Michael waiting in the dark. His voice dripped with fury. "You think you're clever, but all you're doing is digging your own grave." Emma lit a lamp, her eyes gleaming. "Then, I'll dig it deep enough for the both of us." Michael growled, "You won't win this war." Emma stepped closer, her voice steady and unyielding. "It's not a war, Michael. Wars end with treaties. This is retribution. It ends when you lose everything you hold dear." Michael clenched his fists, struggling to maintain control. Emma whispered, leaning dangerously close, "And the sweetest part, you'll watch it crumble piece by piece, knowing it was my hand pulling the string." Emma stood before Olivia once more, her face pale but her eyes burning. Olivia whispered, "I don't recognize you anymore." Emma answered coldly, "Good. The woman you knew was blind, naive, and broken. She's gone." Olivia tried to hold back tears. "And what's left?" Emma's voice trembled but didn't break. "What's left is a fire that will consume Michael, Sophie, and every lie they built together. I don't care if it burns me too, as long as they burn first." Olivia whispered, terrified. "Emma, when this is over, there might not be anything left of you." Emma's lips curled into a bitter smile. "Then maybe that's the ending I deserve, but it won't be the one they expect." Michael stormed into Sophie's apartment, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. Sophie gasped, "What's wrong with you?" Michael snarled, "Emma's poisoning everything. She's telling lies, spreading filth about me." Sophie folded her arms, voice trembling but firm. "Then why do some of those lies sound like truth?" Michael froze, rage flashing across his face. "Don't you dare doubt me." Sophie's voice rose, sharp with betrayal. "How can I not? She told me things, Michael. Things only someone close to you could know. Were you lying to me this whole time?" Michael grabbed her wrist, growling, "Don't you trust me?" Sophie pulled free, tears streaming. "I trusted you with my life, and now I don't even know who you are." Emma sat across from Olivia in the car, their breaths visible in the cold night air. Olivia whispered, "They're falling apart, Emma. But you're falling apart too." Emma's voice was calm but edged with exhaustion. "I don't care. I don't need to survive this. I just need him to break." Olivia's voice cracked. "But what about Sophie? She's young, lost, confused. Do you really want her destroyed too? Emma turned her gaze to the window, eyes dark. Sophie made her choice when she laid beside him. She can share his ruin. Olivia pressed desperately. This isn't you, Emma. This is vengeance talking. Emma looked back, her voice a whisper. Then vengeance is all that's left of me. Michael confronted Emma at her doorstep, his voice shaking with rage. You think you've won? You've ruined Sophie. She cries every night, thanks to you. Emma leaned against the doorframe, her expression cool. No, Michael, she cries because she finally sees who you are. Michael jabbed a finger at her chest. You're sick. Twisted. You can't let go. Emma's smile was razor sharp. Let go. After years of betrayal. After lies stacked on lies. No, Michael. I'm just getting started. Michael's voice broke into desperation. I'll fight you until my last breath. Emma stepped closer, her whisper cutting like a blade. Then breathed deep. Because I'll strip away every piece of your life until you choke on the ashes. Sophie sat in a corner of her apartment, clutching her phone, whispering into a voicemail. Emma, if you're right, then I'm a fool. If you're wrong, then I don't know who to believe anymore. She broke into sobs. He said, he loves me, but every time I look in his eyes now, I see shadows. Suddenly Michael walked in, his face pale with fear. Who are you calling? Sophie hid the phone, her voice shaking. No one. Michael demanded, was it her? Was it Emma? Sophie rose slowly, her tone bitter. Maybe I need to hear more from her, because you've given me nothing but lies. Michael grabbed the phone from her hand and smashed it against the wall. Sophie screamed. That doesn't erase the truth. Emma sat alone at the edge of her bed, staring into the dark. Her voice cracked as she whispered to herself, what have I become? Yet even as the doubt seeped in, her resolve hardened again. She saw Michael's face in her mind, smug, manipulative, untouchable. She clenched her fists, murmuring, no, I won't stop. He'll pay. Her phone buzzed, an anonymous message appeared. You're not the only one watching him. Emma's eyes widened. What does this mean? She whispered. A chill ran through her body. For the first time she realized she wasn't the only player in this game. Someone else was moving in the shadows. Emma walked into Sophie's apartment uninvited, her presence commanding silence. Sophie froze, eyes swollen from tears, whispering, why are you here? Emma's tone was cold. To end this, Sophie, one way or another. Sophie trembled. You've destroyed me. Wasn't taking him from me enough? Emma's voice cracked, but her words were sharp. I didn't take him from you. He was never yours to begin with. He was mine, and he ruined us both. Sophie shouted through sobs. I loved him. I gave him everything, and now you've taken even my dignity. Emma leaned closer, whispering, then take back your dignity. By facing the truth. He's never loved either of us. To him we were just tools to feed his ego. Sophie collapsed into a chair, covering her face, whispering, then who am I, if not his love? Emma's eyes glistened. You're someone who still has a chance to rebuild. I no longer do. Michael barged into the room, his voice thunderous. What the hell are you doing here, Emma? Emma turned slowly, her voice calm but venomous. Finishing what you started when you betrayed me. Michael sneered. You've gone insane. You've poisoned Sophie's mind with your lies. Sophie's voice cut through the air, raw and trembling. Are they lies, Michael? Or are they truths you're too much of a coward to admit? Michael turned on her, shouting, don't you dare question me after everything I've given you. Sophie rose to her feet, her voice shaking but strong. You gave me nothing but emptiness and shame. You made me into a stranger to myself. Emma stepped forward, her whisper like a knife. This is your moment, Michael. Admit who you are. A liar. A manipulator. A man who destroys everything he touches. Michael's face turned pale. His jaw clenched as silence filled the room. The air grew thick with silence until Sophie spoke again, her voice broken. How many women, Michael? How many lies? Michael stammered, his confidence faltering. You don't understand. I deserved better. Emma's eyes widened in disgust. Better? We were your life, your family, your loyalty, and you spit on it. Michael shouted. Because I was suffocating. You both wanted too much from me. Sophie's hand shook as she pointed at him. No, Michael. You wanted too much control, too much power, and now you've lost it all. Emma's tone softened for a moment, though laced with bitterness. This is the real Michael. Not a lover, not a husband. Just a coward too scared to stand alone. Michael fell into a chair, burying his face in his hands, whispering, "You'll regret this, both of you." Sophie's response was firm no. The only regret is ever believing in you. Emma stepped toward the window, her voice low and steady. It's over, Michael. The world knows who you are. The lies you spun are collapsing around you. Michael lifted his head, his face pale, eyes burning with desperation. You can't do this. You can't destroy me. Emma whispered, I already have. Sophie walked closer, her voice quiet but piercing. You broke me, Michael. But I'm done being your shadow. I'll find myself again, and you'll be nothing but a scar I carry. Michael's hands shook, his voice cracking. You think people will forgive you for tearing a man down? Emma turned, her face unreadable. Forgiveness isn't my goal. Truth is, and the truth will haunt you long after I'm gone. The night closed heavy around them, as Emma walked out of Sophie's apartment, leaving Michael slumped in silence. Sophie followed her to the hallway whispering, What happens now? Emma turned, her voice soft yet heavy with finality. Now, you rebuild. Without him. Sophie asked through a shaky breath. And you? Emma smiled faintly, eyes glistening. I've had my revenge. But peace, that may never be mine. Sophie gripped her arm, whispering, Don't let him take everything from you, even your soul. Emma pulled away gently, whispering back, He already did. I'm just what's left. With that, Emma walked into the night, her figure swallowed by shadows, leaving behind the ruins of betrayal, but also a glimmer of rebirth for Sophie.